Pete Alonso is expected to be traded this upcoming offseason. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It's obviously nothing's been confirmed. This is just speculation. It is a pretty credible source, though. And the Mets haven't given him a contract extension yet. They did extend Francisco Lindor. They did extend Brandon Nimmo, even Starling Marte. So they do have some guys locked up. But you know where I'm going with this, Uper. Would Pete Alonso be an option for the Detroit Tigers?
What's his contract situation? Do you know?
I can check in just 1 second, but
yeah, go ahead.
I
I think obviously he's an offensive threat. Plays first base. Tigers got a guy there, but that's okay. That doesn't mean everything. Obviously, you're interested, right? I mean, who wouldn't be? The guy's an all-star. He has prodigious power. He would add something to any lineup. The Tigers have been woefully power deficient for a long, long time. He would address a whole bunch of that. You sometimes worry how sluggers age. What is he, in his late 20s?
Yes, he is 28 years old right now.
Okay, so he'll be 29 next season. Probably still has a couple of good years left. I think you'd probably explore it. But I think also a lot of teams will explore it. What are you giving up for Pete Alonso? Have you seen the contract? Did you look at it?
Yeah, so his last year of arbitration is next season. So you would basically just be getting him for 1 year, and then he'd be an unrestricted free agent.
Okay.
That's a lot, but if we're talking about competing for the division next year, you add a guy like that who's hitting you 35 to 40 home runs. You said moving Kerry Carpenter to the outfield. You slot him in right there as your DH.
What's his on base percentage?
I can double check that for you in 1 second. But like in terms of like what you would want to trade for him, is Colt Keith untouchable? Is Justin Henry Malloy untouchable in a Pete Alonso trade?
Justin Henry Malloy wouldn't be. I mean, he would be definitely available, I would say. Again, you'd have to approach it like you're going to get him for 1 year and 1 year only, right? Are you giving up Colt Keith for 1 year of Pete Alonso? Like, for instance, if you just plug Colt Keith into the lineup next year, and let's say he has a average to slightly above average rookie season, whatever those numbers end up being, how far below Pete Alonso is that next year? Okay, probably a lot less, but maybe less than we think. And also then whatever club the Mets would get Colt Keith for the next 5 or 6 years after that. So that's a lot to give up. I would say it's more, I mean, could you give up pretty much anybody not named Colt Keith and Max Clark for Pete Alonso? Yeah, I think you could. I don't think there's anybody else that's that untouchable in the minor league system beyond those two names.
So I got a name for you, but in terms of his on-base percentage, 324 on base this year, is hitting 221. Last year at 271 with 40 home runs. He does have 39 home runs already this year. Career 876 OPS. Obviously had 53 home runs his rookie year. So he's a guy, you can chalk him up for 40 home runs, a middle of the order bat. But when you talked about you're not trading Max Clark, I'm with you there. You're not trading Colt Keith, I'm with you there. I'm a very big fan of Justin Henry Malloy, but I understand if you were to trade him. Jackson Jobe, would you give up Jackson Jobe in a Pete Alonso trade? It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, here's the thing. You'll get another month of, well, not quite a month, a few more weeks of watching Jackson Jobe. See how much you truly believe. I think in the end, I might do it. I really would. If I'm Chris Ilitch and I want to make a move to win this division next season, and I'm done waiting, and I'm going to tell Scott Harris, hey, guess what? I'm done waiting, and I own this team, so do what I tell you. Then yes, I think that move could probably be made. Because, Jackson Jobe is a pitcher. They break down. He's already missed a little bit of this year because he had a back injury. So, you roll the dice a little bit and you get a top slugger. I am a little afraid that he hit 221 this year. I didn't realize he had sunk quite to that level. But maybe he's been injured. We don't know. Still hit 39 home runs, though. You would hope next year he'd come over to Detroit and still put 40 on the board. That would change the look of the entire lineup. No question about it. So I could see Jackson Jobe. I would probably hate myself for doing it, but I think I'd still do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would only do it if I know I'm extending Pete Alonso. I'm not trading Jackson Jobe for 1 year of Pete Alonso. If I'm extending him into his mid-30s, I think I would be okay with that. I don't want to extend Pete Alonso until his late 30s, until his early 40s, like we did with Miguel Cabrera. But if you extend him and that contract goes to his 35, 36 years old, I would be okay trading a prospect like Jackson Jobe if I know I'm getting a middle of the order hitter that's going to hit me 35 to 40 home runs for the next 8 to 10 years.
Well, one thing you could do is you could also extend him a qualifying offer once he leaves and get a draft pick. Okay. So you do get that. He wouldn't just walk for nothing. I am very leery about a lot of sluggers as they enter their 30s, where their career is going to go. I think the road is littered. The ditch by the side of the road is littered with sluggers who kind of waned a little bit once they hit their 30s. So that would concern me some. I would think I would have no problem if you could just go 1 year. Really, it's if they really want to go all in and try to compete next year, then then you have a chance of extending him. But he's going to want a lot of money. I'm not sure if Chris Ilitch is up for that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand getting the draft pick, but Jackson Jobe is still a guy with a lot of potential. If I'm being honest, I think he has a higher ceiling than guys like Casey Mize, Matt Manning, even Tarek Skubal if he stays healthy. So giving a potential front of the rotation starter for 1 year of Pete Alonso, that's a lot to ask. But, I mean, we'll see how eager the Tigers are to compete. We know the free agent market is not great. And I did see the tweet from a guy named Joe M on Twitter, basically listing the Detroit Tigers' potential lineup for next year, which obviously this is very out there, but he did have Pete Alonso batting fourth, did have Matt Chapman batting sixth as well. So if the Tigers really wanted to go all in, they could add two right-handed bats that can hit some home runs for the Tigers.
And improve the dead zone at third base with Matt Chapman defensively and offensively. It's all fun to talk about. It would be stunning if they did it. It appears to me anyway. I'm not sure Scott Harris sounds like a big free agent guy. They're going to try to build from the organization with waiver claims and drafting, small trades. But we don't know. We'll see. That's the whole mystery of this entire organization right now. People get on Scott Harris's case because he's been on board for a year, and they had one fairly quiet offseason with him at the helm. But that we still don't know exactly what Scott Harris's MO is going to be moving forward. I mean, he has a lot of time here to build this organization in what he sees as his image. So, it would taking a real risk on a 1 year for Pete Alonso, whether you can sign him or not, and giving up a good price for him is that deep down in Scott Harris's gut a possibility? We don't know.